And in 1975, I was a medic. I was an EMT, a first responder, and worked the night shift with the guy I refer to as Toby. And Toby and I had a ambulance call to go to a missile silo. I was stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base in Knob Noster, Missouri, east of Kansas City. Back in 77, there was nothing there. It was extremely remote. It's built up a lot now. So we got a call one night that at one of these missile silos, they had a squadron of Minutemen II ICBM missiles spread out all over the countryside there. And they yanked those out in the mid-90s. But there was a missile technician who fell off a ladder doing routine maintenance on a missile. And they thought the guy might have broke his leg. So we went out, and it's kind of an interesting story in that there was just a lot of weirdness to it. There were a lot of security police there. You know, I would expect maybe one or two cars, but there were 5 or 6 trucks and guys with rifles. And, you know, that's just not, you know, for some guy, for a guy who fell and maybe twisted his ankle or something, that's just an unusual response. So we got there, and we were told there was I don't remember if he was a captain or a lieutenant, but he was on the scene and in charge. And when I rolled up, it was just a bitterly cold night. I mean, single digits. And he said, "Park your ambulance over there. Your guy's inside. He's walking and talking. You'll be able to go get him when I tell you to." And he says, "Stay off the radio and stay in your vehicle." "Yes, sir, whatever you say." So we pull over, and I can't see it. We can't see out the windows because the inside of the windows are frosting over. So my buddy Toby, who was the impulsive one, says, "Man, I'm going to go out and see what's going on." I'm like, "Hey, you know, we got an order not to do that." He's like, "I'm just going to have a look-see." So he grabs his parka, he jumps out of the ambulance, and he's gone, and I can't see what's going on. He's gone just a couple of minutes, comes back, yanks my door open on the passenger side, grabs me by the shoulder and says, "Man, you have got to see this. You have never seen anything like this. You've got to see this." And he's pulling me out of the ambulance. I'm grabbing my parka, and we walk over to this captain or lieutenant, and he's like this, looking up in the air. And at first, I didn't know what people were looking at. And there was this thing very much like the object that they saw at Rendlesham. I called it a black diamond, for lack of a better word, because it had multifaceted parts. It was matte black and about the size of a full-size van. I saw it, and it was cool. It was absolutely motionless over the silo, over the tube where the missile comes out, like 50 feet up in the air, and just absolute silent and just as still as it could be. And, you know, your mind, because they got the security police guys got their searchlights on it, so it's kind of illuminated. And it's like your mind wants to look for wires or something. It's just not natural to see something levitated like that and dead still. And we never, the thought of it being extraterrestrial never crossed my mind. Toby and I both discussed it. I mean, I saw a flying saucer when I was a kid. I thought I was an expert on UFOs, and this wasn't a saucer, ergo it wasn't, extraterrestrial. I really thought it was some kind of prototype helicopter or something from the Russians. And Toby thought the same. While we watched, it shot from 0 to 500 miles an hour and just disappeared over the horizon. And we were told, yeah, that's a prototype helicopter. You can't talk about it. And which we went out and did, to everybody that listened, "Hey, you ought to see what we saw,